Welcome, everyone. Okay, let's jump right into this. Today, we're doing a real Rasbor, a deep dive analysis into a super raw, honestly deeply relatable audio diary. It's all about that heavy, very human experience of mental fatigue. We're getting an incredibly candid look at someone's inner dialogue, recorded on just a completely ordinary morning as they wrestle with feeling entirely stuck in their own head. Honestly, we've all been there, right? And the way this speaker unpacks their own psychological state, it's literally brilliant. Our goal today is to map out the anatomy of a rut using their own reflections and figure out exactly how we can break out of the metaphorical cocoons we build around ourselves. Let me ask you a question. Do you ever catch yourself waiting for the absolute perfect conditions to make a change in your life? Waiting for the weekend, waiting for the weather to warm up, or waiting until you finally feel quote-unquote ready? Well, as we'll hear in this audio diary today, this waiting game is one of the most common and, honestly, most invisible traps we can fall into. We literally delay our own lives. Keep this idea in the back of your mind as we follow the speaker's psychological journey, because their realization about this is going to be a total game changer.
Phase 1. The Trap of Overthinking. So, the diary kicks off on the morning of April 29th at exactly 8:17 a.m. And listening to it, you could almost hear this mix of calm but also a really distinct heavy weariness in their voice. It's that classic sound of mental overload. You know the feeling? They're waking up, starting the day, and basically immediately running headfirst into a wall of their own thoughts. But they start by trying to actively appreciate the day. They actually describe this as returning to my essence, getting back to themselves, and really anchoring into the present moment. They recognize that this grounding, just existing and appreciating the day, is the true meaning of it all. It's a beautifully mindful start. But, well, as we'll see, knowing the meaning of life and actually feeling it, totally different things when your brain is just spinning out of control.
Now, what's really interesting about this raw admission is how relatable it is. Despite their best efforts to ground themselves, they admit, "I'm a little tired of all the psychological thoughts. I feel some kind of overload in my thoughts." They are deep in analysis paralysis. They're spending so much energy dissecting their own psychology that it's become utterly exhausting. I mean, I'm sure a lot of you can validate that exact feeling. When you spend way too much time in your own head, self-reflection stops being helpful. It just turns into this heavy, suffocating weight.
Okay, moving to phase 2, the need to escape.
So when your mind feels overloaded like that, what's your natural human instinct? You just want out, right? You want a distraction. The speaker explicitly says they need to escape this mental loop, and they already know exactly what the ideal fix is. There's this stark contrast between their current reality and their ideal remedy. On one hand, you have their day-to-day, remote work, isolation, trapped in a distant format alone with their thoughts. But on the other hand, there's their preferred therapy, travel, a change of scenery. Just a quick 1 or 2 day getaway to reboot the system. Sounds incredibly simple, doesn't it? Just pack a bag and go. But the issue is way deeper than just needing a vacation.
And this totally highlights the hidden danger of being too comfortable. The speaker points out that in their remote, isolated setup, there's a complete absence of stressful triggers. Everything is perfectly controlled, it's static, so there are no external events forcing them to adapt or switch gears. Basically, there are no natural stressors to kickstart a mental reset. Without those triggers, they're just left marinating in their own repetitive thoughts. They desperately need that slight, healthy stress of a new environment, of travel, to literally force their brain to reboot and clear out the cobwebs.
Which brings us to phase 3, the illusion of perfect timing.
Think about it. If the speaker knows they're overloaded, and they knows a quick trip is the guaranteed cure to reset their mind, why don't they just go? What is actually stopping them? Well, this is where our minds start playing tricks on us, serving up these perfectly logical-sounding excuses to avoid doing anything. When they actually look at their hesitation, they spot these self-imposed barriers. First up, they're waiting for warm weather. They admit they hate the cold, and the chilliness kind of masks their urge to travel, so subconsciously, they just wait for it to warm up. Second, they're distracted by relocation anxieties and security concerns. They have this lingering feeling of, "I'll just wait another day and something will magically resolve this." It's these exact excuses keeping them totally stuck. But here's where their incredible self-awareness really shines. They catch themselves red-handed. They look at these excuses, waiting for the weather, waiting for things to just magically fix themselves, and they recognize them for what they are, destructive thoughts. They realize that waiting for something to happen is a complete illusion. Because let's be real, nothing external is going to fix an internal state. They remind themselves that they have to actually savor the present reality, right where they are right now, rather than just deferring their life to some imaginary perfect future.
And finally, phase 4, breaking the cocoon. So, the crucial point is understanding this powerful metaphor they use, the cocoon. The speaker knows the problem, they see their excuses, and they understand the cost of doing nothing. They realize they're trapped in this cocoon of coziness and routine. But listen, this cocoon, it isn't actually safe. It's a trap. The speaker points out that if you don't actively force yourself to take a step, this cocoon literally deforms your reality. It distorts how you see the world around you, and the scary part? The longer you stay curled up inside it, the harder it becomes to ever step out of that routine.
To stop this from happening, they lay out the exact steps they know they have to take to force that reboot. It's a true catalyst. Step 1. Ground yourself in the present reality, which, remember, they started doing that very morning. Step 2. Reject the illusion of waiting for perfect conditions. Stop waiting for the warm weather or the perfect sense of security. And Step 3. Take the actual, physical step forward. You have to change your environment to get that novelty. You have to actively break the routine to renew your thoughts and get that system reboot before the cocoon traps you for good.
Which leads right to this incredibly inspiring final promise from the diary. Therefore, I promise that I will make it. I absolutely love this. It's a definitive line in the sand. No more overanalyzing, no more waiting for the sun to shine just a little bit brighter, no more letting that cocoon warp their reality. They make a binding promise to themselves to take action, to use that tool of therapy, and to finally step forward into something new.
And that brings us right back to you. This entire journey, from mental overload, through the trap of perfect timing, all the way to this ultimate promise of action, it's a blueprint for all of us. So what step will you take out of your cocoon today? Seriously, don't wait for the perfect temperature. Don't wait until every single anxiety is sorted out. Find your trigger, force your own mental reset, and just take that step. Thank you so much for joining me on this Rasbor. Now go out there and break your routine.